in YouTube because it'll start playing. Okay, and I should tell them we're live.
Yeah. What's this? 7:30, 7:33.
Yeah, well, you know what it did? It automatically put it in when I activated the YouTube feed.
Oh, okay.
When I posted that we were doing it. So,
Okay.
but, all right.
Cool.
Yep, we're on, and it is broadcasting live, I think. So let me find my show notes here. All right.
Excellent.
All right. Hey, Jim's there. Look, Jim's in the chat room. We were talking about you, Jim.
Yeah.
How'd you like your double meme photo?
I loved it. I loved it. You noticed I put it immediately as my little picture on Facebook.
Yeah, I was laughing. All right. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. So if you're
recording?
No, but we can still go. We can still go. I'm not recording, but we can record the show.
Or not, whatevs.
Is that better? Is that better? You see the light?
Can you see the light?
Can you speak?
Test.
Hey, Jim, can you speak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
Cool.
You're good. All right. Yeah, we're ready to go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, click.
Welcome to the Dune Saga podcast. I'm David Moulton.
And I am Scott Herzog.
And I'm Jim Arrowwood.
And on this episode, we are discussing the Children of Dune miniseries.
Do you know how long I have been waiting to do the Dune miniseries?
Like every episode, you're like, the music!
The musical! And then, I was watching, it was like, the musical! It's just one of these, when you look at the things that have been done with Dune, cinematically, Children of Dune has to be my personal highlight, at least.
Same here.
Yeah, my personal highlight. It's just, so I'm really happy we're discussing it. And, this is it. We don't have a lot of movie footage after this.
Right, exactly.
So,
Exactly. So for those of you unfamiliar with the miniseries, it covers Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. It's broken into 3 parts. The first part being completely dedicated to Dune Messiah.
Which I like the way they did that, by the way. The fact that they ended it walking on the desert, and then we kind of have a new chapter for...
Yeah, the 9 years has passed.
Yeah.
Even though they look like they're like 24.
I know. I was like, wait, aren't they supposed to be like 13 and 14 here? And I'm like, yeah. Suspension of disbelief. Yeah. Right. Jim, your thoughts here watching the miniseries? First time watching it?
It was the first time I've seen it, and I'll tell you what, I just thought it was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just love that guy as Paul.
Alec Newman does a great job as Paul.
He is Paul to me.
Yeah.
And James McAvoy.
He nails Leto. Yeah.
And the women.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Holly is something else, Wow.
I tell you what, the actor that plays her did a great job portraying Alia.
Yeah.
I have the complaints I have with Alia are not in the acting job. So, so it was I love Stilgar.
Oh, he's so much better in this.
He is much better in this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, Gurney Halleck, same guy.
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay. It looked the
was.
same. Yeah, just wasn't sure. And the Baron.
He just had the facial hair this time.
Right.
Right. Which suited him, I thought. Yeah, suited him. He was more of a Gurney this time to me.
It's funny, ages when we watched the first miniseries, I watched this right after with I introduced my mother to it, and we're not even through Dune Messiah. She's just like, how old is this girl supposed to be, the Alia? And she just just let it go. She's like, she is not as young as you tell me. And I was like, I don't want to spoil it. Be like, we're gonna flash ahead and be appropriately aged,
right
later.
Yeah. Yeah, there was just so much good. There were. I thought that overall, even and I liked Dune, the miniseries in Dune. But I did like the the casting of the actors was just a little bit more solid here.
Mm-hmm.
And the musical score was phenomenal in this one.
Right. Now, I don't know what the budget for Dune was, but apparently on IMDb's telling me $20 million for this miniseries.
Is that a lot for a miniseries?
Well, I mean it sounds like a lot for a TV show to me. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what a normal miniseries budget is. So.
But I mean, to me, that's like, well, that explains why they got the better actors, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Suited out.
And what year was that then?
2002, 2003 it came out.
Yeah.
2004 is the release. Is the release date of it.
So that's $2,002. Yeah, that's a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say. What year did the first one come out? It was like 2 years before?
Yeah.
01 or 02?
Yeah.
This was 03.
Yeah.
So, my overall impression, I mean, I love this to me is Dune. And there's so often I'm like telling people how much I love Dune. I'm like, this is my favorite. You've got to see this. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, all right, there's just 6 hours of like movie before it you have to watch to even understand what's going on. So
right.
Let's sit down for a while. That's the only downfall to it, really.
One of the things that really impressed me about this one was it was far more professionally done.
Yes.
The costumes were much better than they were in the first miniseries.
Then the eyes didn't flicker in and out.
Right.
Yeah, and they did a lot better job on the blue eyes.
Yeah.
By the way, was it Matthias? Matthias, sorry. Matthias said, and I confirmed it, the first Dune also had a $20 million budget.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they I don't know if in that time period the technology had grown or they just, it was more concise. I just don't know. Wow. But it was, somehow they got Susan Sarandon in there and just a really top-notch group of actors to kind of really put this together, and it worked well.
Yeah. So I have a question. Which eyes do you prefer? Or which do you think are more book accurate? The completely blue shaded, or the blue iris and the blue color tint that Children of Dune has?
Now, do you know this answer?
I think it's debatable because they just say it's blue within blue, which I feel that the Children of Dune captures, but at the same time, I'm like, well, it would make sense your whites would be blue too. I don't know.
I can't answer that. I like the blue eyes in this miniseries better.
Yeah.
But.
Jim?
Yeah, I think they would all be all blue, just the way they did in the miniseries.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's discuss some of the differences between this and the book.
Between this and the book?
Yeah. A big one that jumps out is Duncan's eyes look human.
Oh yeah, and they're not. I forgot they're kind of Talaxu metal orbs are supposed to be. Yeah, they didn't even touch that.
Right.
See, they saved like $2 million in the budget right there.
That's true. That's true.
No, they didn't even touch that. Jim, how about you? Do you have a difference that comes up?
Well, a few. We're talking between the book and the movie.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Bijaz is even more irritating in the movie than he is in the book, for one thing. Farak is not playing a lute.
Shame on
okay.
There
That would be more like what I think a balisette would look like. What else? That's really about it. It was more concise. It was a lot easier to follow, and it cleared a lot of stuff up for me.
Right. A lot of the extraneous stuff was also kind of like we don't have Duncan restrained when he goes to the Carino house and cutting his arteries open with the sugar wire. We don't have that. We don't have the we have Aaliyah killing herself. Oh, spoiler alert! No, I'm sorry, but killing himself. But instead of throwing herself out the window, she stabbed herself with a Chris knife.
Right.
And so we have some of that stuff that is different. I think one of the things that was different than I imagined it would be Leto's transformation. I just pictured that. I just pictured that when I read it differently.
Yeah.
And not that what they did was beautiful and worked, and it was slowly expanding over his body throughout the movie, and that was awesome. And that's, but I kind of viewed it as being a complete transformation right away when I read the book.
I'm the same way. When I read the book, I got the impression that he was wearing more or less a living still suit.
Yeah. Yeah. In the book, he's completely covered by the time he gets to Arakeen. In the movie, it's kind of like.
Well, we don't want to cover up James McAvoy's hot body. Come on.
But it's okay.
We're gonna be like cutting off the women demographic. Come on, we don't want to cut off about demographic here. Right.
Yeah. I think that some of the stuff they added in really good too. Like we talked about it before, but let's kind of just the death scenes at the end of Dune Messiah adds so that whole like the music and just like the intense build up of the children being born. And the murders happening, like everything kind of falling into place. It kind of puts characters in different places, like Stilgar's not at the siege with them. He's in Arakeen, stuff like that. But it's so beautiful and it works so well. Just the death scenes. They really do it for me. And Edric, I think that's his name, the Navigator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you like the Navigator here better.
I think the Navigators look so good in this film.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Matthias said that Paul's eyes turned black instead of being completely destroyed as well, which is true. I mean, they talk about his eyes being totally burnt out. But that'd have been way more grotesque to have a preacher running around with sockets and that's it.
Right. Probably a lot harder to do.
The death scene was like of Paul is like I imagined it. Right, pretty much. That whole scene and Leto's kind of holding him and the burden's passed to you and his roar that he has going on is just awesome.
Yeah, there's so much to it that's just great. One thing that I don't like is I dislike the character change of Jessica. Somehow the Borg Queen just doesn't fit.
That's right. It was the Borg Queen, wasn't it?
Jessica's supposed to be this like crazy, matronly, beautiful woman, and I just don't think that.
What? Green eyes and stunning hair. Right?
I thought the other one she fit it much better, but.
We don't know whether that actor was unavailable.
She was. It's in my trivia for later. But
we ruined it.
She was pregnant, so she couldn't.
Turn off the feed now. No.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I kind of disagree with you, David.
Really?
I mean, I just thought that Alice Creech did an awesome job as Jessica.
Okay. All right.
I mean, she doesn't have the same looks and any of that, but I'll tell you what, she convinced me.
She's a better actress.
Yes.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, she's got some acting chops for sure.
Yeah, she was definitely the better actor of the two. She doesn't quite have the look that I envisioned, but I believed her.
Yeah. I'll agree with that. Yeah. And she's good. She's good side by side with Susan Sarandon. See ya. I think that's really.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. So
there's also a lot more of Irulan in this, and Irulan's relationship to the children, and I think that adds a lot to the story for the movie. To me, just it gives you a sense of like there is a matronly woman like over them looking out for them. Ollie is not filling that role, and in the book they say that that she's like taking that role, but you never really see it
Right.
in action.
And we see it in action here in the miniseries a bit more.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that that it didn't bother me, but it was different, was the whole the cats sent to attack them. Number one, we don't see them getting wounded, which they are, and also it's kind of a plan. They have this plan safe word where they're kind of saying, okay, I'm gonna, through our Bene Gesserit technique, through whatever they are, Galima's able to put it into a small recess of her mind, so she actually believes that he's dead.
Right.
And they just don't touch that at all. Like she doesn't really think he's dead because she still feels him.
Yeah.
But they don't address that. Like when he comes back, it is a surprise to her.
Yeah.
So they just don't really touch that.
I got the impression she suspects that he's dead, but she feels him, so she's not sure.
Right.
So.
Which is different than the book.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And probably not a big point, but it was something that I thought of.
I felt like it was implied.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more than overt, but implied. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think a person who had not read the book probably wouldn't pick up on it.
Oh.
What do you think of Leto's display of power? Do you think it was appropriately done, or should there have been more?
Where at? Give me
once
a
he gets the skin, because he basically just runs fast and survives the storm. He stops the worm.
Well, he demonstrates it in front of Alia when she tells all the royal guard to attack him, and he takes all of them out. It goes all Matrix on her. You know, it's just you know, we have that.
Yeah.
And I think that shows a power.
Did it fit? Do you think it fit the character the way it should have been in the book?
I don't know that I imagined it that way in the book.
Right.
Jim, what are your thoughts on that?
He's jumping over mountains and stuff.
Really?
Or well, not mountains, but a cliff. He jumps over a cliff or something.
Yeah, he jumps down a cliff. That's right.
Yeah, I think it was a little overdone. Actually, not extremely, but yeah, jumping over, leaping tall buildings in a single bound and things like that. I didn't get that.
Yeah. It was definitely subdued, but at the same time, for the themes and the way that everything had played out in the series, it kind of fit your believable abilities for someone to get during, in this world. When you read a book, it's a lot easier to be like, well, now he can, lift a mountain, and you're just like, okay. But when you're watching something visual, you need a little bit more. I don't know, to me.
Yeah. I felt like it fit the movie.
Yeah.
I did not feel like it was out of place. One of the questions that I was just thinking, I was like, do you think that someone could come to the Children of Dune miniseries and not have read Children of Dune? Maybe read Dune, but not Children of Dune.
Oh,
and still understand it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's pretty accessible.
Mm-hmm. I've introduced many people to Children of Dune who have never read any Dune.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like I mentioned before, they have to watch the first miniseries or they won't understand it. And before they watch the first miniseries, there's about a 20-25 minute conversation of me just giving them all the background. Right. But I have I even have a friend that owns both of them who's never read that I introduced it to.
Yeah.
Now, see, this brings a question to mind for me for you, Scott.
Okay.
I just today, on the way to work and back, listened to our discussion of the book, Children of Dune.
Okay.
And I wondered, remembering what you said last month, do you think that watching the miniseries shaded your understanding of the book a little bit? Do you think maybe it enhanced your understanding of the book a little bit?
See, the problem with asking that question on this side of it is that all I have in my mind right now is a miniseries. So I'm a little bit jaded on that. You know, it had been, I'd watched the miniseries when it came out. I might have watched it soon after it came out, but it was a good 8 years since I had come back to the miniseries. So when I read Children of Dune, I was more viewing it through I think that I was more influenced by what I had read of Kevin J. Anderson and Brian Herbert's writing than I was of the miniseries. So that was influencing the way I pictured, viewed, and understood Children of Dune. Now, that being said, there were parts when I watched the miniseries this time that I was anticipating because I did remember them. Like when he's facing the sandstorm and quoting the mantra, you know, face my fear, which I for some reason remembered him reciting the entire litany against fear, and he doesn't. It's just like the first 4 lines they repeat, which, by the way, if there's one nitpick for the movie, there's just a couple of lines that they seem to force on you. You're like, my skin is not my own. Or, you know, I will face my fear. Like, that's obviously that's reoccurring in Dune too, but and it's not as bad in the context of a 400, 500 page novel. In a 2-hour movie, well, I guess in a 6-hour miniseries, seemed a little bit more continuous and maybe a little bit more like they were beating a drum. But it wasn't enough to bother me. It was just something that I noticed. It said, "Oh, skin is not my own." Oh, they said that again. So I kind of got sidetracked there. Sorry, but so short answer, I don't think that it did influence my reading of Children of Dune, because I think I was more influenced. If anything, I was probably more influenced by our watching of Dune or the Kevin J. Anderson, Brian Herbert universe.
Okay.
I'll chime in and say that it did influence my reading of Dune, or Children of Dune. Just a second.
Okay.
I thought I was going to sneeze, sorry.
Yeah, spice in the air.
So it gets pumped in.
Yep.
I'll say that it did influence my reading of Children of Dune because I have watched this miniseries so many times, and I love it so much that in some areas, my memory of Children of Dune is so convinced that it's like the miniseries that when we read the books, or even Dune Messiah, like I was convinced those death scenes were also in the book, which they weren't. And it's just like small things. It enhances it because I'm like, well, I have an idea of what this person's doing, even though they aren't talking about them. But then the book just never talks about them. Like Irulan, they never really bring up her in certain areas. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess they just don't ever, you know, it's not, they just did that for the movie. So there's a couple things where, like, reading the book kind of put me back on the path, I guess, you know, as to what really happened for this. But I think it enhances the book for me.
See, now I almost wish I had seen the miniseries before I read the book.
Yeah, the book for you was not a easy journey, was it, Jim?
That one was challenging.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the emails.
Yeah.
About that. That episode just went up, so we'll see what happens next time.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get some. By the way, just Matthias also said about, we were talking about Leto before we get too far from that. Didn't he create some humongous pillar thingy in the book? I don't remember him doing that, but it's been a few months since I read it.
He lifts it or something.
He lifts it?
I can't really remember. I know that he does display like huge feats of strength.
Yeah.
Beyond what the movie does.
Right. Well, one of the thing that I was anticipating when we came to this, I may not have watched Children of Dune in 8 years, but I own this soundtrack and I've listened to it a couple times a year, if not more. Like, it's a soundtrack that's in my rotation. Mm-hmm. And so when they start playing that music it's in the soundtrack has an order that it appears. I'm like, there's certain pieces I'm just waiting for, it's just, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat. And so like one of those pieces is the arrival of Lady Jessica. When she steps out, the music just swells, and there's this grand thing, and I'm like running the treadmill, and there's chills just going up and down my body as I'm watching this. I'm like, this is why this movie's awesome. It's just that it's that musical connection, and there were a couple of moments like that. That you just kind of that Brian Tyler just that's the guy that did it, right? Tyler. I think it's Brian Tyler just did this awesome job with the music, and he's done music, by the way, for so many movies, so many movies. So it was great that they got him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really.
The soundtrack was incredible. That opening scene where with the flyover of the palace, music
the palace
behind it,
grand.
That I wanted to stand up and cheer. It was so awesome. However, when they did it a second time for one of the later ones, it was kind of a letdown for me.
Well, Jim, if you're going to spend money on that sort of visual effect, you have to use it more.
I'll tell you what, I would have liked to have seen more of that flyover, actually.
But I'll say, I mean, did you watch it in one sitting, maybe two?
I watched it from end to end.
Okay, yeah, that's usually how I did. I'm like, we're not stopping.
It was three sittings for me.
Well, it makes sense. That's how it was meant to be consumed.
As a matter of fact, I watched it twice that way.
Nice, nice. But I watched it when it came out on TV. So when you think of it being 24 hours between parts, that second flyover has a lot more weight to it because you've been waiting to jump back into this world, and then it's like
it's a reminder.
It's a reminder, and then you kind of flash back in your mind to how grand it was the first time, and you're like, yeah, like the first time you're like, yes, this time you're like, yes, I'm back in. Like, here we go, get ready.
Okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah, but no, I do hear you, and I think maybe that's part of the issue, even with like the lines that are repetitive, spread over 3 nights of a miniseries. It may not feel quite that much because there is that time.
Yeah,
there is that time. And I agree, Jim. That flyover was awesome. In fact, up to that, when they're flying over the desert and he's following the worm sign, and there's these 3 worms that come up, and they're like in the maw of the worm and flying out of it, and they're freaking out Irulan. It's absolutely that opening scene of part 2 is incredible.
Yeah.
And then the flyover. I mean, when you see the Citadel and the palace that Paul has created since the first Dune movie, it's insane. You see how big and
you see the Church of Alia is just as big, like right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Man, I will say I would recommend that if you have the time to watch it in one sitting, like Jim and I have done. I mean, it's a commitment, but if you're the person who could sit through something like that,
and the soundtrack is definitely worth owning.
Watching it that way, both times, the time just went by like nothing. I mean, it didn't feel like as many hours as it was.
Right.
No, I totally agree. I agree with that.
Well, I mean, we've covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did.
I don't even know where to go from here. What else do we have to talk about?
Well, we talked about the characters. Do we have any other scenes other than what we mentioned that maybe are favorite scenes for us? What about like Jakaruta? Did that kind of fit your image of what you pictured? And
it's definitely cut down, but I like the scene of him and what's her name? What's the girl's name?
I don't even know.
But the girl.
Yeah. We're gonna call her the girl. Someone in the chat room might let us know, but the girl.
I mean, I like in the book a lot more how he imagines like a life with her as an escape from the Golden Path, and they don't really explain what the Golden Path is.
They mention it's a life free from premonition. Yeah.
Right. But
So without knowing, life
Yeah.
without a predestined future.
right. But it's like in the books, it's greater because it's also, of all the possible futures, the Golden Path is the only one where humanity doesn't go extinct.
Mhm.
So
Right, and they don't really establish that
No,
here now.
no.
It's just the golden path, and how Paul can't do it.
Right.
I'll tell you what, the Jacurutu scene, the one thing that stands out to me in that is how nasty that spice drink looks.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I cannot understand how somebody could drink that.
It looks like a curdled like eggnog to me.
Colonel Eggnog. That's just with some great food coloring or something in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely it reminded me of a cup full of water after you've done watercolor painting
Yep.
with chunks in it.
Ugh.
Do you know what other scene that really that I just liked is when when Leto's staying there with Paul and I guess it's Gurney, and they're in their desert, and he is calling the worm with his foot
Yeah.
to create the thumper, and it's
Okay.
action, and it's the force he's driving, and it's the sound effects in it. It's just and you see the worm comes, and he just grabs onto it and begins to steer the worm with it. It's just incredible seeing that scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
Any for you, Jim? Any big standout scenes?
You know what? When Paul tells Alia it's time to settle accounts,
He grabs
and
her
then
hand, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and then when they cut to that all that killing and all that other stuff and the music that was with that, this peaceful, wonderful music, and Stilgar is looking like he's having way too much fun, and Korba getting hauled off to the death still. That was for me, about maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That made the entire movie for me.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite scene. We've talked a lot about the Children of Dune part. What about the Dune Messiah part? What other than the death scene? Any parts of that really stand out to you?
I'll start out with the Korba thing. When
Yeah.
I read that, it seemed like it was more of a public execution of him. I think they pared that scene down a lot.
Well, I don't remember them saying how they killed him publicly in the book.
I just had the impression that Alia was present and watched,
Yeah.
and a lot of people. I mean, she was sending a message to everybody: "You screw with me, and this is going to happen to you."
I have some good trivia about Korba for the listener feedback show. So.
Oh yeah, so that would be awesome. Wow. I'm gonna be honest. That it's the ending that's memorable. I mean, him being able to see with his blind eyes is kind of cool. But it's him walking out in the desert is pretty awesome. But I kind of forget the first part of that. Like that, we talked. For me, Dune Messiah was kind of the between book that everyone didn't really like, and there were some neat points with it. And the guy that played the dwarf,
Pijaz.
yeah, Pijaz, it was kind of cool.
I like him.
But I just nothing real memorable comes out.
I like Pijaz, and I like the scene where Skytail as Lichna comes and asks Paul to go to Othian, and that's not in the book in the same way as that. When she leaves, Stilgar and Paul just kind of look at each other and they're like face dancer, for sure. And to me, it's like like, oh, that's such like a cool scene. How they didn't play it. They knew while she was in the room. Like Skytell probably thinks he got away fine. And then it's even made more impressive having read Winds of Dune, where you learn how Paul spent time with face dancers,
right?
So he would be able to pick one out.
And that obviously informs,
right?
Yeah. One of the things we didn't discuss in the miniseries is how they captured the worm.
Oh,
and that to capture that worm, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But if I recall correctly, they show that worm numerous times off of Arrakis and alive.
Yeah,
and they don't show him dying.
But don't they mention how they don't survive? He said, like, I think Farad'n says something like they never survive for very long.
Right, but they never, but they don't show that worm dying.
Right.
And I felt like that entire idea. Well, I guess when they were in Jakaruta, they mentioned the sound trout and they're raising them to sell off world, but it doesn't sound like they've gotten anything to live off world. Like this is kind of maybe a repeat business type thing. I don't know. It felt a bit underplayed.
Yeah.
A little bit more prominent maybe in the book.
Right. Since you brought that up, we've barely touched on Farad'n or Wencesia, and what's his name, the general, who barely. I mean, he has a role, but I don't even know if you hear his name all that often in the movie.
No, you definitely don't.
He's not as prominent.
That best part is when they arrive in Arrakis, and Farad'n turns him Wencesia. Yeah. It's just absolutely awesome. Like she has no idea, and it's like, wing.
I like Farad'n in the movie a lot better than I do in the book. I feel he does play more of a victim in the movie. Like he's more soft and innocent, but at the same time he has this more intellectual tone to him that I feel like the Haraka or Ada, or whatever you say it, would have. But where in the book he's intelligent, he's less innocent because he finds out about the murder like a little bit earlier and takes the throne or his place a little bit earlier, and he doesn't like what's done, but he's trying to use it to his advantage anyway.
Right.
Make the best out of it, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Farad'n, I just kind of felt like he was standing there saying, "Can I have a job? Please? Can I have a job?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So Roland brings up a comment here in the chat. Couldn't the worm just burrow away? And I don't know if you're talking about when they captured it or when it was.
I think that is.
Secundus. But I think the idea is that the water was too, like it's like seeping into the sand, and they can't touch water or they'll die.
Yeah.
Do you think they had put water underneath the sand so it couldn't dive?
Well, I know in the movie they capture it like up against a mountain, so there's probably stone. Underneath. My imagination was there was stone under it.
And once they have the cords going across it and they make it stationary, can it still burrow?
I mean, it had a net under it.
Right, so that makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Roland put in there that the girl's name at Jakarutu was Sabiha.
Yeah,
oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So, Roland, a resident encyclopedia.
That's right.
No, Encyclopedia Dune.
Encyclopedia Dune.
We have a new role for you, Roland. Taya says one thing I was wondering about is is the worm just lies there in the cradle and looks like it can slip out by just wiggling. It's not harnessed. It's not harnessed, it seems.
Well, so. I don't know. I mean, think of a snake. I guess
caught in a net,
or held up by a bunch of people where they're just holding it straight and it can't get away. I mean, I'm no biologist.
Have you ever held a snake?
I have held a snake. But I mean, like when several people hold like a python, you know what I mean? Like in a line, like it's not going anywhere.
Right. Well, maybe.
I don't know.
And it's hard to know too. If that worm had been ridden, did they capture it in the wild, or is it driven there? And if they drive it there and it's been running for a while, they say these worms get tired out. So if they tired out the worm ahead of time, it wouldn't have as much fight.
Yeah.
Would be maybe one way that you could argue.
I don't know. We're basically grasping for straws here.
Yeah, we're making it up as we go here.
I think in the book they say they take them a lot younger.
Yes.
So that makes more sense.
However, cinematically, this was pretty freaking awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, no doubt about that. The only thing it was missing was Jim on top of it playing a lute.
Yeah.
But we would have been fine.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only thing to mention here is that when the one guy flies up into the air as a part of that, it's kind of cool. They just need the Wilhelm scream there at that point.
Yeah.
The one that you always hear in all the movies. I
guess when I watch that scene, the biggest thing that comes to mind is how would they get the worm so perfectly in the net? Because it's like exactly where they need them to be for those hooks to pop up, and wow, that's pretty big circumstance.
Yeah, unless we're not looking at the right place in the sea. Maybe there's like a channel in water on one side and a rock wall, so the worm wouldn't deviate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the worms do travel straight lines pretty well.
What were you gonna say, Jim?
I was going to say, question for you, David.
Sure.
What was with the butterfly?
The butterfly symboled what was happening to Dune and how it was becoming more moist.
Because, I noticed on Leto's hand, after he got the first sand trout on him, that it looked like a butterfly on his hand.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a connection there or not.
You know what really scared the hell out of me?
What's
is that they were going to do a mashup between that and Under the Dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little scary.
Yeah, no, that would be scary.
I do love the design on his hands, though.
That is.
I've talked about it a couple times. I'm thinking about another tattoo, Doom themed, and it is similar or a nod to that look on his arm. So, anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing. I'm just checked real quick on the internet. Is there anything about butterfly? And there's nothing.
Yeah, I think it just symbolizes the change and the moisture in the air. Since they don't talk about it too much, I think it's just a visual clue to that fact that these water-fat creatures can exist on Dune now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What did you think of the cats?
The cats?
The dogs, the cats, the things that hunted the kids.
Lots of tigers.
Yeah.
I thought you were making a throwback to the pugs in Lynch's Dune.
No.
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, they're old CGI saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah.
They serve their purpose to me.
I'm going to tell you what, when they jump out of that one rock wall, I do jump. I do. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are we at here with our discussion? What else do we need to talk about?
Well, I think
there's not really favorite quotes.
Yeah, no.
My skin is not my own.
I did have a quote.
Go ahead.
Let's go.
Okay. Let me find it here. Alia says, while they're having a meeting, Atreides' power must never be marginalized by the chaos of democracy. And that was in reaction to the suggestion of forming a constitution and it getting rejected, and then forming a fake constitution. And it kind of symbolizes to me how much how much they really seem to enjoy their power. Ali is not willing to let power go.
Mm-hmm. One of the lines I really love from Alia is the way she cuts off Jessica in the movie. She's like, "We'll have the commodity on the most precious resource in the universe." And I have the line totally wrong, but it's right after the attempted assassination, and Jessica's like telling the crowd how Alia what she plans to do when the worms start to disappear. I really like that part. Just the way that line is delivered.
There are some good lines. You know, the history's written on the sands of Arrakis. The chapter's ended, swept away by the whirlwind. One door is closed, but another is open. And on the other side, our future. You know, there's a quote about, you know, about leaders and human, that they are, we forget that they are human or something like that. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Maybe not, but we can move on. So,
yeah.
But
well, I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've pretty well covered everything. It's pretty obvious we love this movie.
yeah, we do.
I'll start with my rating 5 out of 5. I mean, I watch this movie so often, I can't give it anything else.
Well, I have to evaluate this separate from a book. I mean, you can't evaluate books. If we were evaluating it in line of Lynch, Dune, and Children of Dune, hands down, this is a 5 out of 5 rating for me. There's just I can't rate it any lower. I can't rate it any. I mean, I guess it could go higher, but it's definitely this is a 5 out of 5 for me, and it's just really good.
Jim?
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like it's unanimous because I decided this afternoon it had to be a 5.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say if you watched it twice so close together the whole way through in one sitting, it's probably about there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, my son's gonna have a tough time getting it back from me because I intend to watch it again.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's well done. You know, for a miniseries, it's rare. I think that we said that this was probably one of the highest rated miniseries that Sci-Fi Channel had until Tin Man came along, you know, which was 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So it held, you know, for a good 8-year period, held the #1 spot.
Wow.
And yeah.
Let's take a look to the future, the far, far distant.
What are
future
what are we reading in the future
of next month?
Of next month?
We're reading God, Emperor of Dune.
Dun dun dun.
What are your predictions? What do you want to see in this book? I'll preface that there is a 3,000-year jump. I think at least 3,000.
Yeah, but some of the characters are still alive.
Yeah. Not a fake thing. So at least one of the characters is still alive.
Yeah, one of the characters is alive.
What do you expect in God, Emperor of Dune? We'll start with Jim.
I would expect to see probably the end of war and being kind of on the way with the Golden Path and finding a little more about what that's about and how that's shaped up.
Yeah. You've never read it, right? Right.
No, I have not read it.
Same with you, Jim?
It's been a long, long time, many years.
Yeah, I haven't read it. I mean, I know very little about it, and I do know that, you know, Leto is still around. I know that much, and I think what I'm interested in is, in one way, the conflict from the prequels on up till now, in a sense, has been the whole Atreides Harkonnen rivalry. In that, or I guess Carino you can throw in there as well. And for all intents and purposes, that seems to have ended with Children of Dune. And so, what now? Is it just the battle for Arrakis and the worms? Is it where does you know, we kind of, you know, when we got into the prequels, they were heavy with the Spacing Guild, and we got a lot into the Commerce Guild, and so we saw, but that was very marginalized when it came, at least to the movie, and then maybe even Children of Dune to somewhat, was kind of those roles were minimalized. We're going to see them play bigger roles in God Emperor, and those of you that have read it are laughing at me because you know. But I don't. And so this is, you know, David asked, you know, what do we think? And it's going to be interesting to see how it's explored.
I'm looking forward to rereading what is my favorite book in the series. I remember when I finished this book and I moved on to the next one, I was like, I want to read that again someday. And not right away, because it is heavy. So I'm just looking forward to re-experimenting with my ideas of what it is and my memories of how good it is, see if it lives up to it. So,
David, am I mistaken, or are there several Duncans in this upcoming book?
Oh, I have heard that.
yes.
So, I mean, the Talaksu are
Okay.
still making their golas.
Well, yeah.
For
Leto.
some reason, if I recall, Leto gets mad and kills them, and then they send a new one, and then he becomes sentient, and then they kind of get wonky, and he has to have them replaced every so often.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, it's kind of like what the Baron did with.
La, 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 la. No, I'm
This
kidding.
isn't spoiling it. It's kind of like
Piter.
The difference is that Leto awakens the memory of the Gola every time. So he is Duncan.
Right.
Yeah, I can't remember if he's a Gola. If he remembers the wife that just got killed or not, I can't remember.
Yeah.
We will find out for sure.
Okay.
So
well, before we move on, Matthias said, "Too bad they didn't make a mini-series of God Emperor Dune back then." So.
Yeah, I was hoping for it so much, but James McAvoy's too much of an A-lister or B-lister, I guess.
I don't know. He's up there.
Yeah, he's probably at least a B-lister to probably get back for a TV show, unless he is passionate about it. Now, of course.
Well, he wouldn't be as young anyways. They could put another actor in there, probably.
Yeah, they could.
I mean,
it'd be CG anyways.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be cut. Yeah, so doesn't
so,
matter.
But it'd be another Duncan, the third Duncan.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would like to see it. I just don't know how they would do it and do it well. That's a good question. Matthias, remind us of this question after we've read God Emperor and we can remember how the story goes and how it might fit as a television show. So.
Yeah.
So I think that brings us to the end of our show, huh?
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I think we've discussed this. There's probably things you want to talk about that we missed, and if so, let us know, and we'll talk about it in our next listener feedback show. We'd love to hear about the things that you thought about Children of Dune, especially if you didn't get a chance to send in your thoughts in our listener show that we'll be releasing right prior to this episode, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
So
holidays got us a little behind, but we're back on track. Just so before we get into contact, we just want to let you know we've kept the question from last month on another month because of the
holidays.
The holidays. So the question is, which path would you choose? Paul's path or Leto's path? And that's Leto the Second.
Right.
So let us know any of our posts on the DuneSagaPodcast.com. You can find the poll on them, and you can vote right there. So, if you would like to be a part of the show and you can't make our live broadcasts to chat with us while we're recording.
Which, by the way, you can always visit. We announce it on Facebook, Twitter, and those sorts of areas, but it's always on our event, the evening that we're going to record. We put it in at least a month in advance, and we do record live. DuneSagaPodcast.com/live will take you there.
And there's a calendar on our website where you can see when.
Yeah, and at times we try to get there within about half an hour. Sometimes we're on a little bit later.
But you can email us at dunesagapodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, where the conversation's constantly going, at facebook.com/DuneSagaPodcast. We're also on Twitter at DuneSagaPodcast. If you so choose, you can always leave us a voicemail, which we love, and the voicemail number is
1-260-577-CHAT. 1-260-577-2428.
Yeah. So, one last thing, if you're enjoying the show and you'd like to help contribute to keeping us going, you can visit our Patreon page. Patreon is a service that helps support the arts and shows like ours. Every month that we put something out, we have a subscription service, and you have different levels that you can subscribe to with different types of rewards. So we want to thank everyone that's been a part of it so far. It's really great to have that support that you're giving us there. Of course, the show will always be free. This is just if you feel like giving back.
Awesome.
So, once again, for the Dune Saga podcast, I'm David Moulton.
And I am Scott Herzog.
And I am Jim Arrowwood. And may Shai Hulud clear the path before you.
Boom.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I love this. Norma dwarfed the competition in the last one.
Yeah.
Terrible pun. Terrible pun.
Yeah.
Because remember, she was a dwarf.
I didn't even realize that.
Now you got it now.
Oh,
man, that's
clever.
All right, let me start a new file here.
All right.
Okay, we're going to take a break, right? I'm out of coffee.
Mr. London. Is it London? Is that how you say his name? London? We're probably totally mispronouncing it. Just bear with us here. But, all right, are we ready to do feedback? Do you have the voicemail?
It was emailed to us.
It was an email. All right, let me get to my email.
Are we not going to take a break, guys?
We can.
Yeah. Do you want a break?
I would like to go up and fix myself a little more something to drink.
Yeah, be a little bit more presentable. I understand.
Yeah.
Just put some coffee in your coffee and booze. So don't leave that part out.
Oh yeah, here we are. All right, yeah, we'll be back. Just give us 5 minutes, and we'll be back.
Yeah.
Those of you in the chat room, just lost chat room.
Yeah. We'll do our thing. Scott's wife made
Lundeen.
Lundeen. Nice. How about a pronunciation on your help with your first name? Is it Matthias or? I'd love to be able to say it right. Yeah, Scott's wife made some cookies to be jealous.
We'll eat one for you. All right. So I guess that's when's the Dune feedback we got here?
It's going to be a short one.
It is. I got to figure out where it went.
I listened to. I wasn't going to, but then I listened to Rick's feedback.
For some reason, I'm not seeing it.
It's just called. It's on.
Well, no, I downloaded it. I just can't find out where my downloaded it for me. All right. Well, I can get back into that. Oh, it dropped into the Minecraft folder. That's all right. All right. There we are. Yep, I'm good now. All right. Do you want to go down real quick?
Sure.
Are you getting ready? I'm ready. One day?
Series. She comments on Duncan's looks. I don't know what's happening with her older age. She starts talking about men. Wow. I'm still your son. I don't want to hear about what guys you find attractive.
Oh. Mateus. Mateus is how you pronounce it.
Mateus.
Is it Tay or Mati? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. All right.
I'm trying to figure out if there's some sort of psychological thing going on here. He's got Worf in a noose at all times.
What?
Look at the figure. He's in a noose at all times.
He is. I'm hanging more. If you can see that.
You just really dislike Worf.
Yeah. Worf is not a true Klingon, therefore, since he's not a true Klingon, we cannot acknowledge his existence. I don't know why.
All right, now you know what? You know what? You don't want to do that to Worf.
Hey, you just need to know that I record with the son of Worf.
It's true.
So.
Because I will kill you where you stand.
Now that would be a feat from where you're at.
You see, today, you see what I got? What I got in my hands here?
Yeah. Today
Guys,
is a good day to die. I can't because I'm not actually watching the video right here. I'm watching now. Yeah.
you see what I
What is
got
that?
here?
What is that? A toothpick?
Uh-huh.
This is Luke
I got a full-size one upstairs for you.
Yeah, which your wife lovingly let you hang over the fireplace, right?
Well, I can hang it over the fireplace downstairs, but not upstairs.
Oh, all right. So let's do this feedback.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Oh,
Click.
That's all right. Do you want to do that again now that we are actually recording?
All right. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Dune Saga podcast. I'm David Moulton.
And I am Scott Herzog.
And I'm Jim Arrowwood.
Little delay there.
And we are in our listener feedback show for Children of Dune, the mini-series. Now, before we get into things, I just want to say a big thank you to our new Patreon supporter, John Madsen.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on board and supporting us in this way. If anyone would like to contribute like he is, you can do so at patreon.com/Dune Saga Podcast, where we have a list of different reward system going on for the amount that you choose to help us out with. And of course, the show will always be free. This is just a way to kind of help keep us going and give back. So now, if you want to take part in the next listener feedback show, don't forget that you can email us at dunesagapodcast@gmail.com, Facebook, facebook.com/dunesagapodcast, or our hotline
1-260-577-CHAT. 260 whoa 577-2428. And if you want loot lessons, you can email Jim at jim@dunesagapodcast.com.
That's right. So let's go right in. Do you want to talk about the app?
Yeah, I mean, we have an app, Zog Pod Collective, that is producing Sci-Fi Diner podcast and Dune Saga podcast episodes. A little bit behind on the Dune Saga podcast episodes, but that's all right. We will get them updated here in a little bit. So,
Nice.
but you can find all past episodes of both shows and many other shows kind of associated with that, and it's just so it's a collective. It's called the Zog Pod Collective. So.
Now, this episode was a little bit lighter than our normal. That's mostly probably because of the Christmas delay of our last episode. So
yeah, well, we released it about a week ago, and so
Yeah.
it's like didn't give a lot of people time to respond, which we totally understand.
that's just the way it goes. So
So-
maybe next time.
Yeah, next time we expect that we'll be getting more Children of Dune feedback on that.
So let's go ahead and get started. Jim, why don't you lead us in?
I sure will. We've got a note from Roland here on Children of Dune. It says, "Hi, David, Scott, and Jim. I don't have much to say this month, except that from the outset, the Children of Dune miniseries was much better than the Dune miniseries. The visuals were great, the music was amazing, the props and backdrops were high quality, and even the acting seemed better. 5 out of 5.
There you go. He agreed with us.
Yeah, I just want to say that the fact that Roland starts out saying I don't have much to say this month is kind of startling because he's not a man of few words usually. So I don't know. There's something, he's losing something in there. He's actually in the chat room, but he doesn't have as many opinions about the TV shows he's saying. So we're just giving him some dirt.
I figured he was just so spellbound from Winds of Dune.
Right. He said,
yet.
well, what can I say after that? I mean, nothing can ever surpass the greatness of Winds of Dune.
10 out of 5.
Yeah, 10 out of 5. A Winds of Dune miniseries. That's what he's hoping. He's holding out for that.
So.
I do know he is that. But we didn't talk a lot about the backdrops. There was only one time that I thought about the backdrops, and it's when I mentioned the scene in the you'll hear it when you get to the regular show, but I mentioned the scene in the regular show about how Leto's doing the thumping thing with his leg, and he climbs in the sandworm. He's standing on top of it, and the sandworm's moving, but the backdrops is stationary. And I thought about it only in that incident. Everything else I kind of bought. And this backdrops were much better. I didn't hear Jim complaining about the backdrops this time.
Right.
So.
And we know how
No, they were very good.
Yeah. No, the Dune miniseries, man. That's all he talked about. Backdrop, but not this time. So. Yeah.
Well, we're glad
and the loot.
Yeah, and the loot. No, the loot that was Lynch. We talked about the loot, so.
No, that was it was Dune miniseries.
It was a miniseries?
Yeah, because it's Gurney Halleck's playing. He's playing a loot.
No, that was. I think it was. That was Lynch.
Okay.
I think.
I don't believe you.
Bets are on. The bets are on. The bets are on.
Right now.
Yeah, right now. In-house poll for those in the chat room. When did we first mention?
Is this our next trivia question?
What? Yes, it's our trivia question. When did we first mention Jim playing the lute and riding the sandworm?
Okay.
Was it Lynch's Dune or was it Dune the miniseries?
Yeah. Okay.
Cast your dice now.
We'll see who in the chat room what they say.
Right.
So while you guys are sticking your opinions out in the chat, let's go ahead and move on to our next feedback now. Rick from Starbase 56, right?
Yep.
66.
I'm sorry.
Starbase 66.
Let me say it again.
And if I can add to that, he has just launched not too long ago another program called Ray Guns and Go-Go Boots, in which they're talking about old television series from 30 years ago. They've done The Twilight Zone and they've done Lost in Space. It's really a neat show. Ray Guns and Go-Go Boots.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds good. I'm glad to hear he's still doing stuff. Well, he sent us a voicemail, and let's go ahead and hear what he had to say this time.
Chat room. Roland's the only one that chimed in, by the way, and he said he thinks it's a mini-series. And Matthias said, "Oh, we're still in that loot thing. Talk about beating a dead worm." Ha 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 ha. So
it's all about the puns today.
He is. He's awfully. He's giving us the pun master. Anyways, here's a voicemail. You know, I am playing it, by the way.
Hey guys, Rick here from Starbase 66. I just completed a long drive in which I finally caught up on your shows, listened to the Winds of Dune podcast and then the listener feedback. And man, I was livid while I was driving. I was just gritting my teeth, scribbling notes on the back of my hands while trying to keep my eyes on the road. I got to compliment you all on your tact, on your diplomacy, and on your self-control. I understand that as podcasters, you cannot just dismiss criticisms, and I appreciate how you all welcome criticisms. However, that lengthy criticism from Germany, the points he raised about your commentary, that's fine. I have some thoughts about those that I'll get to in a minute. But what really got under my skin is to hear a fellow podcaster write in and tell you guys how you should be doing your show. Telling you that your way of doing the show is wrong. Just really ticked me off. And I'm going to behave myself and not swear because I know you guys don't. I have something of a potty mouth on my show, I know. The listening or the reading order that you all chose, you said right up front why you chose it. I read the books in publication order, but I'm really enjoying the unique perspective of hearing it read in chronological order. It puts a different spin on it. I don't think it detracts at all from Dune. I don't think Dune is a stone. So, one of the things that he got upset about was, and other people have written in too, about how, I guess it was in Paul of Dune, where they were talking about Paul leaving Caladan before he went to Arrakis, and Dune specifically says he never left Caladan before going to Arrakis. But one of the through concepts of the entirety of Frank Herbert's books is the revisionist history, is the, history is written by the winners aspect. God Emperor is full of that stuff. Chapter House and Heretics are full of that too, about changing history to suit the facts rather than the other way around. Or not, changing the facts to suit history, whatever. Not telling the whole truth is a major point of Herbert's thesis throughout the books. So getting upset about that one little thing, I don't quite see the point of it. But anyway, his what he said about you have to understand David Lynch to watch Dune, I've been in the theater a long time. And if the audience has to do homework before they come to see a show in order to get anything out of it, then the show is a flop. The show is a failure. And Dune, if you have to watch all of David Lynch's movies in order to appreciate his Dune, then I'm sorry, that film is a failure. And so saying that you guys should have schooled yourselves on Lynch's oeuvre before daring to talk about it, and that's my own emphasis. I know. I'm just really, really upset for you guys. You do not deserve that. It just really rankles. That's really my big thing. I don't know if you're going to want to air this or not. If not, that's cool. But no one should tell you how you should do your show. If somebody, if he wants to do a show about Dune, go for it. Anybody can do a podcast. Mm-hmm. So take issue with opinions. Take issue with viewpoints or criticism, stuff like that. That's all fair territory. Don't tell other podcasters how they should do their show. Okay? Don't treat your opinions as if they are solid facts, because they're just opinions. And everybody's got an opinion. I won't go any further with that anymore. All right, guys, thank you so much for all your wonderful work. I'm really looking forward to Children of Dune, and I will try to be a little more participatory in the future. I've been a little busy with life outside. So great work. Love the show. You guys rock. Bye.
All right, then. I'm glad that rather than us defending, I mean, we kind of answered that email that night, but rather than us answering, I'm glad that a listener kind of chimed in there.
Yeah, thank you for writing that.
It was absolutely nice.
I think in some ways our responding at the time, we can, for me personally, I can just let it roll off. Everyone's got a point, and I'm fine with reading it on the show and responding to it. Might not agree with it, but hey.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jim, thoughts on what Rick was saying?
Well, I do appreciate the voicemail. I appreciate his perspective. And Rick, I will be in touch.
Yeah. It's I do want to thank you for defending us, because I think that there is everything you said is true. I love the idea that if you have to do homework before you watch a movie, then that takes something of the enjoyment out. The only thing I would say that, and I'm not playing devil's advocate here, there is no argument, from my end at least, that if I would have watched other Lynch films, I might have had a different appreciation of the David Lynch Dune. There's no doubt. But I'm not a Lynch fan. I mean, that means I'm not anti-Lynch. I just don't go out of the way to make myself. I don't care enough to go out and watch every Lynch film just so I can understand Dune a little bit better. So.
Yeah, I both agree with his statement and also see the point of if you knew more, it would be better.
Yeah.
I mean, we encountered a little bit of the same thing when discussing Jodorowsky's Dune.
Oh yeah.
One of the guys in the audience was like, "Well, if you read his comics and stuff, like you would get a lot more of his vision."
Yes, we did hear that same sort of thought. There's no doubt that someone who has read the comics is going to have a better understanding than we did of Jodorowsky. There's no doubt. Right. The chat room, by the way, totally agrees with you, Rick. They're saying that this man is really insightful. Here, and Roland, I agree for that. And I agree with you, Rick. If he really cares, start a podcast and have something that kind of counters what we're saying.
Yeah.
And the more the merrier. I mean, this is our podcast. We decided to we made a conscious decision to do it this way. It's the way that's agreeable to us. And for those of you listening, you're along for the ride, and you may not like everything we say, and I hope that you don't actually, and you may not like necessarily the way we're reading it, but it's just the way we've chosen to do it.
I mean, I'm glad for the negative feedback as well. I mean, you can't grow unless someone criticizes you.
Right.
And so.
And I think since then we have tried to take a little bit more of a balanced approach, especially on the reviews.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. But thank you for your support, and we wish you continued success in your podcast.
Yeah,
so Starbase 66. What was the other one, Jim?
And it's called Ray Guns and Go-Go Boots.
Awesome.
Okay, check those out.
I like the title of that podcast.
Yeah, I do too.
That's just fun.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So moving on, we had a little bit of feedback. We've been kind of tossing around saying, what is after Dune? I mean, the reality is there's a limited time life. Probably by October, November, we're going to be wrapping up or really looking close to the end of Dune. And I think we must have talked about it in the one show, I guess. Like, what are we going to do after Dune's over? And Doc Small chimed in about the podcast continuing. Love your idea about Asimov. Start with the robot series, then Empire, and finish with the Foundation. That would be outstanding. And another long series that we're working on with Roe. But don't know if we'll do that. We are still tossing around some ideas, and we have a little bit of time here.
Yeah, we've got some time to figure out what we want our vision to be, and then really nail it down when it's ready to go. But nothing gets me more motivated than knowing that several of you are on board for more talks from us. So that just makes me more excited to keep going. So, and who knows? I mean, down the road we'll have maybe a Christmas album with Lute playing by Jim.
Absolutely. Now who's?
Why didn't I see that coming?
Yeah. Now who's beating a dead worm?
Yeah. I don't know if I'll ever let the Lute thing go. It's almost classic in the fact that it's always brought up.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this Lute thing is ballooning because I got ribbed by J.P. Harvey on this a couple of weeks ago.
Nice. Nice. Well,
okay, so we've got some feedback now. I'm pretty sure that we didn't do this one before, but we may have. But either way, it's a small one. Tom wrote us. He said this is in response to our third listener feedback show that we did, and he says, "Oh my God, a Babylon 5 podcast? Count me in. Is this still in the pipeline?"
It is a reality, and we have someone on the show here who can talk about the Babylon 5 podcast, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. Bro, my Vera and I, we just recorded the other day our last show of the first season, and it is definitely a show that's a lot of fun. The Babylon Project podcast. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Twitter, WordPress. You can just, on iTunes, just type in Babylon Project, and we should come up. We're having a lot of fun with this. We had J.P. Harvey on. He's now an occasional guest host. He's our military consultant, being a retired colonel. And what we're looking at putting together, hopefully, a roundtable discussion on the entire first season. And hopefully Scott's going to be involved with that.
There's been talk. So, I'm certainly open to doing that. We just got to talk about when.
So, we'll have to get together, which means you'll have to communicate with us on Facebook. So. We'll figure it out.
You can I still message. So if you message me, throw me in the loop, I'll be there. So.
Excellent.
afraid of Skynet, so he's.
I am. I mean, this new Terminator movie coming out. I'm like anti-Facebook. Not. No. So, I have been. I've not been on Facebook and Twitter a lot. I've kind of taken a vacation from it, and I just found myself getting a little bit, a little bit anxiety tied with it. And I've chosen to not be on, and I haven't missed it. I thought I would, and I haven't missed it. So I obviously there's a lack of connection that's happening because of it, and that's the downside, and I acknowledge that. But it was just a kind of an interesting thing to do. My daughter's now on Facebook, so I set her up. So I guess I really should be on to monitor what she's posting. But, yeah.
Wow.
But,
well, that's about all the feedback that we had. So,
okay.
like I said, very, very short list here. See somebody chime in.
No, just say Babylon 5. I wish it was on Netflix.
Isn't it? I thought it was.
It's not.
Bummer.
It's not.
Bummer. So instead of bad reviews, because
bad reviews of the movie. I guess.
Reviews, yeah, instead of bad reviews of the movie, because that varies so much with that kind of stuff. Anyway, I decided to just read some trivia, and we can respond to this. So, many supporting parts from this film are played by actors from Dune, the first miniseries, recast as different characters. For example, Korba is played by Carol Dobry, who previously portrayed Dr. Liette Kynes. And once I read that, I was like, oh, his face does look like Liette, but he just doesn't have any hair. Right. So I thought the guy who played Liette was a lot older, too, but apparently not.
Well, 4 years will do that for you. Okay.
Clara Asava, who played Lichna, she appeared as a Fremen housemaid in the Atreides Palace in Dune. So I think there were more, but those were the two listed. And it's like once they say these things, it's all of a sudden they pop in your head, and you're like, oh yeah.
I wouldn't have picked them out.
Yeah. Well, Korba really surprised me. But,
right.
But now that I know it, I can see it. Brian Tyler's music for the miniseries is used regularly in movie trailers. For example, The Golden Compass, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
It didn't help that movie.
Yeah, unfortunately. And Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World. I am going to go home tonight and look at these trailers and try and pick out the music.
No, I'm a little bit perplexed. So I wonder if the date's wrong on this. 2003, Master and Commander: Far Side of the World. Because the Dune miniseries didn't come out till that year or after. 2004 is the miniseries date.
I thought IMDb had it as 2003 March.
What the
Dune.
The Children of Dune miniseries. Let me go back.
Let's double check this.
Double check this. I was just a little bit perplexed by it. It says 2004 182 cut. Let me see if that's when they're saying it's released. Oh, 2003 is when they're saying it released it.
Yeah, I think that.
So it came out and they instantly had it Master and Commander.
Yeah, instantly.
Simulcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But that is interesting that they used it that quickly.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I want to go hear this music elsewhere, see if it's done justice.
I've seen it done in one of the big theaters in our area, Sight and Sound Entertainment. Used it for one of their shows in the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, for the trailer for the longest time.
Wow.
It was the.
Wow.
Yeah. That opening theme is just the main title.
Well, I'm just waiting for Jim to use it for his bands at school. Pull out some of this music.
Right.
I think.
Yeah.
I can see a high school band doing it.
Next year for your pep band, this music.
The
right.
theme.
It would totally change your pep band.
We'll see.
So I picked this trivia up for Jim. It says this film introduces more actors from the Star Trek films into the Dune cast. Alec Newman appeared on Star Trek Enterprise. Steven Berkoff, who played Stilgar, appeared in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And Alice Fringe appeared in Star Trek First Contact. Of course, she was the Borg Queen. She will always be the Borg Queen to me. According to interviews, Alice Krieg was John Harrison's first choice to play Jessica in the Dune miniseries, but she was unavailable. However, Saskia Reeves had to back out of the miniseries because of pregnancy, so Cridge was reoffered the part. So that's why the switch was. I don't know how it would have been with her in the first film.
I don't
can't
either.
imagine. So the series has an 80% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which to me seems pretty high for a TV miniseries. So,
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So and that's what I have for the trivia there.
Yeah. One other little bit of trivia that I didn't necessarily pick up on, but Aaliyah's death scene reworked from the novel uses many of her lines and actions from her first appearance in Dune of 2000.
Yeah, especially she touches the tear, she drinks it.
Right, that's direct reference to
Yeah.
that. I forgot.
I want my
forgot.
brother.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Bridget Rathgear is saying March 16th, 2003 was the Dune miniseries. It was a March release, so if Master Commander came out later that year, it would have been easy to kind of slide that music into it.
Yeah.
But
So obviously this is pretty short. So I think anyone in the chat has any topic they want us to cover here, we'll give a minute.
right.
And we'll gladly talk about any subject matter or question you might have.
Oh, you are opening up a can of worms here.
I am.
One small thing is the role of Gurney Halleck was originally played by Patrick Stewart in David Lynch's film in Dune, and James McAvoy went on to play a younger version of Stewart's character in X-Men First Class.
That's right.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
That's right. I mean, they're pretty much the same person.
Yeah, I mean they could. I mean, can you imagine Star Trek Enterprise, James McAvoy?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
if they ever make a
right. If it'll play a younger Stewart.
Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
I love
What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I think that would be great. Hey, Matthias put up here James McAvoy, Leader the Second, and Patrick Stewart Gurney both played Professor X in X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great mind.
Yeah.
They think alike. You guys
Yeah.
are connected.
What's available for free online? Babylon 5.
Babylon 5.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
See, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
That's
It's free on torrent sites. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
It's through the power of friendship.
Right. Yes.
The power of friendship.
That's
No,
right.
it's there on a legit site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These episodes are not my own.
So yeah. All right. Well.
Favorite board game? We have a question came in.
Favorite
board game.
You guys start.
I got to start?
Yeah.
The one I play most. Okay. The one that I play the most frequently. He said board games, so it limits me. Settlers of Catan.
Okay.
It's the one that I go back to again and again, and I end up replaying with a lot of people.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How about you, Jim?
Star Trek Catan.
Okay.
Oh.
I've never played Catan.
They should come out with a Dune Catan. Then I play.
We need little sandworms that connect the.
I know.
Features.
That would be awesome.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome. I'd play it.
Yeah.
We could have like a
video cast of that.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be great. My favorite board game is Carcassonne, and I always get asked when I'm playing Carcassonne, "Oh, is this Settlers?" And it's like, no, it doesn't look like Settlers, but it plays similarly, I guess. But I've been playing a lot of Pandemic lately.
Pandemic.
Yeah, that's a cooperative game. That's a lot of fun. So.
Yeah. I play other games a lot, but not that. Not board games a ton right now.
Roland hosts. He hosts Battlestar Galactica games. You think
board games?
Yeah, you think the franchise board games are kind of like, man. I know you and I played a Firefly card game, and we were both kind of like, I don't know. But he's got Battlestar Galactica, the board game, and let me tell you, it's a lot of fun, but like you gotta settle in for like a 3-4 hour game when you play it, and it's just kind of like, all right, I'm ready to do it. So it's that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. They're talking about the Dune board game. Did you ever play the Dune board game?
No, I heard you can print it online somewhere.
No. Maybe. Anyways, apparently there's 2 versions. Bridget Rathgear says, I want to get both versions of the board game, but for now I'll stick with the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I've not encountered that.
I've seen pictures, and somebody had messaged me or something that said that you could print it.
Yeah.
But I haven't taken the time to do so.
Yeah. I do actually. Since Christmas, one of the things I got was a DS, and I spent a fair amount of time playing the new Pokemon game.
Okay.
Play it against my son, and I'm for some reason addicted to Pokemon now. And we got into the card game a while ago and playing that competitively, and now we do a little bit of of the DS, maybe more than I should, but I got to catch them all.
Well, let's just Fred, since you brought it up, favorite video game and what are you currently playing if you play games? So you just said Pokemon. So
yeah, so that's I'm playing it on the DS, and probably is my favorite current video game. I don't know if it's my favorite video game of all time. I probably sunk the most time into World of Warcraft.
Okay.
So I played that for 4 years, so there's some longevity there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's good. It's good.
So Jim, were you ever a gamer?
You mean video games?
Yeah.
My favorite all-time video game on any platform is Mario Kart.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right. You were playing that in the Wii U for a while. You still playing in the Wii U?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Raul and I got online and we're playing against each other, and I was just smoking him. I mean, and then he let his son Antonio on to play, and he smoked everybody. Oh yeah.
I do love the Mario Kart games.
And then for Christmas, Chrissy and I got the Infinity connector for the Wii U, and my wife got us a bunch of Marvel characters and things. So I've kind of gotten into that a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
That looks pretty cool. I will say that's fun. The best marketing strategy ever.
Yeah, it is.
To get you to buy things, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, favorite game of all time would be The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time. There's just not much that could ever really beat that game.
Mm.
I'm currently playing Destiny, and I don't think there's ever been a game that I've put this much time into in the short period amount of time that I've had it. It has a very kind of World of Warcraft addicted type stick to it. So
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I've dabbled in getting back into World of Warcraft. I just can't. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Don't have the time. My son is a huge Minecraft person. Mm-hmm. I'm not that interested.
I'm gonna work on you a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a hidden world within it. You know.
I know. My son watches the Stampy videos all the time, so I kind of deal with that. Yeah. And we play. He plays Mario. He loves Mario. Our Wii's kind of on the fritz, so I don't know what we're gonna do. It doesn't play discs anymore. But I just started doing that. I didn't look into it. But yeah. Anything else?
Any other things in the?
They're talking about the mud. They got off in the mud a little bit.
Okay. Any other topics you want to bring up, either of you? I brought up one. Does anyone else want to? Just a quick round table here. Fill out some time.
Books other than Dune that you're reading.
Oh, okay. All right. Why don't you go first, Jim?
Okay. I am reading an incredible series of books by an author named Nathan Lowell, and these were suggested to me by J.P. Harvey.
Are these a quarter house series?
Yeah, the quarter share,
yes,
half share, full share. What an incredible bunch of books. I started reading the first one the day before Christmas break, and when I went back to school, I had read 5 of them.
Oh,
in
Yeah,
a period of 2 weeks.
they are pretty phenomenal. He released those first as a podcast, and I listened to them, and I couldn't stop listening. I just loved everything I could get a hand on. Excellent
Yeah, and
record.
it's so neat. It's just ordinary people doing a job, and it focuses on one character in particular who you see him go from about 17 years old and he grows. And I've only read the 5 books. I've got the last one yet to go. And I set aside the reading so I could get caught up on some blogging. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, there's no shooting, killing, screaming, no aliens are attacking or invading. It's just plain good stuff.
Yeah.
wow.
We at the Sci-Fi Diner interviewed him.
I know I listened to it, but oh my gosh, I've listened to so many Sci-Fi Diner show I can't remember.
Yeah, no, we met him at Balticon, I guess, 3 years ago. I met him. So.
Well, you remember, Scott, when it was several months ago, I said, "Hey, you guys should do the Matrix." Rewind, and you said, "Yeah, we did that a year ago." And I had listened.
It's going back, but we did the Matrix show.
Yeah,
but
I had listened to all 3 shows, and then I suggested to rewind them again. So
yeah, well, that's what
but
happens when you
senility will
consume too
do
much
that to
spice.
you.
What was that?
No, senility will do that to you.
That's right. That's right. How about you? Do you have a book that you are currently reading that's not Dune?
I am. Well, so I just finished the Hellboy Library editions, and I am at the very beginning of The Martian, which Scott lent me. So
It's a great book.
yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. I just haven't had a lot of time to do so.
Yeah.
And they're making it into a movie.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I have to tell you though, I said one day I had a couple minutes. It's like, do I start this? Because I'm feeling like we'll probably read it, and whatever comes after Dune, we might read it again. But I'm definitely going to read it probably here in the next month.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You'll go through it quickly because you won't want to stop reading this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
They try to be very authentic in their science, but it's not a hard. That being said, it's not a hard read.
Okay.
It's an entertaining read.
Exactly.
Good.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I know Matthias here said in the chat, he said we should look into the video games for Dune as well, and that's been in the back of my head, but it just hasn't.
Yeah, some down,
happened.
maybe down toward the end we can talk about them.
Right. Yeah.
For me, I'm continuing through the Wheel of Time series. I think I mentioned I've been reading that. I entered book 12, so we switched authors. I mean, the guy that was writing it had passed on, and his widow and this other writer kind of took over, and you almost can't tell the difference.
I was going to say you're going to start complaining.
No, you can't tell the difference. In fact, if anything, it's not quite as ponderous as the other guy was. But the way he's writing the characters is pretty dead on. Okay. And he kind of starts the book by acknowledging that, hey, I'm not this guy, but I love this universe, and hopefully I can do this justice.
How many more books do you have?
Well, it was supposed to be a final book, one book, and when they wrote it out, it ended up being 3 times the length of his size books, which are about 500-600 page books. So I have basically 3 books to go through written by this guy.
Okay.
But it's phenomenal. I'm engaged in the characters. I'm invested in them, and it's a series that you definitely have to commit to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's on my list to read someday.
Bucket list, though.
Yeah.
But, well.
Jim has to give a thing. Give a topic.
A topic?
Yeah.
Okay, Jim.
Oh.
Topic's yours.
Gosh, let me think. Well, how about something cool you got for Christmas?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Something cool I got for Christmas. My mom gave me a Last Airbender T-shirt.
That's kind of cool.
I was pretty psyched about that.
Yep.
Because I had laid the hint down that I wanted it. So, and then, I mean, it wasn't really gotten for me. Someone gave me money and I bought it, but I bought the board game Takedo, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
I got the DS, the 3DS, and so Roland said that's why I'm not on Facebook. Actually, I was off of Facebook a month before I got the DS, just so you know, Roland. But it's been the gift that I've been using the most and invested on. Also got some eyepieces for my telescope. I'm waiting for a little bit warmer weather to try out on.
nice.
So
Jim?
Well, I got Santa brought me the Star Trek watch that they were advertising on ThinkGeek.
Nice.
The saucer section of the Enterprise, and that, and then of course the Infinity. The Infinity was pretty cool.
That is
Nice.
awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Very cool. We all made out like bandits.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yep. Well, I think that about brings us to the end.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you, chat room, for joining us tonight. So again, if you want to watch us live, you can go to the babylonpodcast.com/live. Did I say that right? Oh, I said Babylon Podcast.
You could have been more wrong.
Right. I am so
Yeah,
wrong.
I'll take that.
Yeah, he'll take that's a plug for you guys. I don't know if you do a live show. It probably goes nowhere. The Dune Saga podcast.com/live, and you can join us in the chat room. And but
We look forward to hearing your feedback.
Matthias wants a still suit bathrobe. So
That would be great.
that's what I want.
Of course, we look forward to your feedback for next time, which we assume will be a little bit more robust.
Yeah.
So you can do that by sending your feedback to dunesagapodcast@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on Facebook where the conversation is continuously moving forward, and that's facebook.com/dunesagapodcast. Hit us up on Twitter @dunesagapodcast. And, of course, we've got our voicemail, which is at...
I don't have the number in front of me right now, but I'll look it up. It is the 1-260-577-CHAT, and you can send that information that way. By the way, I did want to talk about one other thing that was bothering me about the miniseries.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I know it's totally unrelated to this. I'm wrapping up the show here, but did it bother anyone that James McAvoy never sweat when he's out in the desert? I mean, the blazing sun of Arrakis, he's out there and there's not a single bit of sweat on him.
Well,
Even prior to the sandworm incident.
I mean, he just
I know that he's hot and like water just evaporates off of his body just because he's there, but
He's just too cool to sweat.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap up the show here. So please give us your feedback. We will be reading what book?
God Emperor of
Dune.
Check
So
dunesagapodcast.com. There's a calendar right on the right-hand side. Tell you when we're going to record again.
Yep. We'll let you know.
Yeah. So once again for the Dune Saga podcast, I'm David Moulton.
I'm Scott Herzog.
And I'm Jim Arrowwood. And may Shai Hulud clear the path before you.
There we go.
There we go. Thank you, chat room, for joining us.
Yeah. Taking part in what looks to be a nice conversation there. I'll have to go back and read it. So.
All right. I believe that's about it. Time for us to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Do we want to pick a show? If I hang out, it doesn't matter. When do you want to chat over Facebook as far as solidifying a date again?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
An hour or later. Jim, do you want to talk later?
Yeah, I think later. Then I'll have a copy of the school calendar in front of me, and I'll know exactly what I've got going on.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
All right, man. Well, hey, it's good chatting with you, Jim.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I gotta say, I miss you, Scott. You gotta hopefully get visible somewhere.
I'll hop back on.
Yeah.
Just give me some time.
Hey,
Let me know.
problem.
Let me know about the round table you want me to kind of take part in.
Yeah, we've got JP, of course, is going to be on. We're talking to Wayne, and then a friend of mine up in Iowa who was part of the production of the show, Troy Rutter, he's going to be on. And then a guy who knows more about Babylon 5 than I think even the people that made it know, a friend of mine from Omaha, is also going to be on. So it's going to be a pretty big deal.
Oh, that'll be
And
awesome.
my hopes is that you'll not only participate, but get you to moderate it, because I'll tell you what, you do really super at that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I will keep you informed. We got to figure out with Raul though. His schedule just jumps all over the place.
Yeah.
So we recorded. We're recording on our third regular night now. Now we've moved from Wednesdays to Mondays to record, and yeah, things just seem to he bounces around a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we chatted a little bit this weekend. I meant to call him and didn't get a chance, but.
Yeah, he mentioned something about trying to get a hold of you last night.
Yeah,
maybe.
He had talked to me on Monday. He talked to me Saturday and said, "Yeah, I'll call him." And that night, my son got really sick and ended up not happening Sunday because I was kind of taking care of my son. But
okay.
so you can just tell him that I did not forget about him, but it was family stuff came up. But.
Okay, well that's cool. I'm just kind of glad you're not mad at us. I wasn't sure.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad at anyone. It was totally my departure from Facebook for a while was totally personal.
Yeah, because he doesn't.
Oh, that's no problem.
Hater for the podcast.
A what?
A moderator.
A moderator?
Instead of a moderator.
Yes. Moderator.
That is absolutely the most terrible thing that you said all evening.
I told a joke like that the other day, and they were like, "That was such a dad joke." And I was like, "Just give me a kid. I'm ready. I'm ready for the dad jokes."
Oh man.
Yeah. So, anyway, I should get back. Before we started recording, I was paying bills, and I've got like 3 or 4 more to go. So, I'm going to get on that and make my sandwich for lunch tomorrow and go to bed.
All right. Sounds good.
Catch you later, Jim.
Hey, we'll catch.
So, good night, guys.
Yeah.